Hi, I'm Ben. We're here to talk about making stuff out of cardboard with this guy. What's your name?
My name's Andy.
All right, you've been making cardboard stuff for a while. How long has that been?
I've been building stuff for probably about 40 years now of cardboard.
When did you start?
Well, I started when our kids were wee little, and I built a cardboard boat, Titanic. It was about 4 feet long, and had a great time with the kids in the neighborhood building that. And ever since then, I've viewed wood sometimes, but cardboard most of the time is a great building material for these things.
And why exactly do you like to do this stuff?
It's a lot of fun. Cardboard is a great material because it's free. You can get it anywhere. We've all gotten appliances or just boxes laying around the house, and so you can always find them. And it turns out you can make a lot of pretty interesting things out of them. So for no cost at all, you can get involved and make stuff.
What sort of things do you make?
Lots of different kinds of things, actually. I have on the table here a few items that I've made recently. So let me show you. Often we'll make shapes. So here's a polyhedron. It's a dodecahedron. I think that is the technical name. I make things like that. We've also made recently a cardboard boat that floats, and it's a steamboat that floats in the water with motorized paddle wheels that make it go forward or backwards. And here at the library recently, we built an Eiffel Tower that's about 20 feet tall and on display.
Oh, that's pretty interesting. Any techniques that you have?
There are some techniques, and what makes cardboard really so much fun is because you can make things pretty quickly. We use glue that dries immediately, so you don't have to hold things for long periods of time. And the key, I think, is making good joints. So maybe to help out, let me show you some of the things that when I talk in front of groups, I give some instructions and things like that about making cardboard. Yeah. So let me pull up some cardboard stuff. Recently I was at a fair and we gave some demonstrations of stuff to make. I just happen to call it Creative Cardboard, Cooperative Cardboard Creations. So that's sort of the name that we used. Whenever we're making stuff with cardboard, we have just a few rules for groups of people, so I'd like to just mention those. First thing is safety. Always want to make sure that we're all safe because we're using tools, some of them are sharp, and we just don't want to get hurt and have to go to the doctors. If we're with a group, we don't like to have no horsing around, so have people focused again so that the safety is there. I'd like to have people be patient, and things will turn out really good if we do that. If I'm in a big group, we'll ask before doing things, and planning ahead, that's a key thing to do. So let's talk about building tips for a second. Building things, so you want to plan it out. With a good plan, the thing will turn out great. Draw your idea out on a piece of paper if you have it. I call it use a doodle pad, but go ahead and make a sketch. Next, share your idea. Talk it up with your family and friends and see if they have some things that will make it even more interesting, maybe bigger, maybe a better way to do it. So lots of people have lots of great ideas. So then you want to find your materials. And as I said before, you might have cardboard boxes just laying around, grabbing cereal boxes, go to the recycle center, get as much cardboard and stuff like that as you can, and check out the type of quality cardboard you have. We'll show you a few examples of cardboard here in a minute of great materials. When we're making things, it's best to be careful in our measurements. That way stuff fits together better. If we're really sloppy with the measurements and it doesn't fit together, it can be a little bit frustrating. If you use a nice measuring tape and stuff like that, it'll turn out really good. And then attention to details is kind of key. So just sort of focusing on what you're doing, and you'll make really strong, really cool shapes. So when we're making these things, here's a few ideas. How to make things strong. We really want to make strong joints, not that it's going to fall apart right away, but we want to make it last as long as we can. So look at the cardboard grain. So cardboard, I'm going to reach over here and grab some cardboard. Here's a typical piece of cardboard. So you can see the grain of the cardboard runs sort of along this way. You can see sort of little lines in the cardboard. And on the straightforward view, you can see it's sort of corrugated. It's curvy stuff. So it looks like that. So you can see the grain, you see the curves. You want to be aware of where those things are. So cardboard is really bendy this way. You can bend it really easily. It's not so bendy this way. It's really strong that way. So when you're making your joints, you want to keep in mind the strong side versus the sort of the bendy, flimsy side. Okay? So when we make joints, there's overlap joints, and there what we do is we take pieces of cardboard and glue them on top of other pieces of cardboard. And that makes for a really nice joint that's held much better than if you just took two pieces of cardboard like this and put glue between them. If you put glue right on the joint here and just put these next to each other, they wouldn't stick at all. But if you put another piece of cardboard on top of this, it's going to make a really solid joint. It's going to be really strong. So some other types of joints we have are sort of corner joints, and we use little pieces of cardboard and bend them and glue those in place. Or you have a piece on the outside making a cardboard corner there. So what that looks like, I have a couple of examples here. Here we go. Here's one of the joints that's two pieces of cardboard here and here with a little piece in between. And you put glue on these, hold them flat, and just in 10 seconds it's going to be a nice solid joint. Feel how solid that joint is.
Yeah, that's pretty solid.
Pretty solid. Okay. So then we can make even more solid joints when we have things at different angles. For instance, we have again pieces of cardboard running on the inside there, and all these pieces are sort of flattened to one another. So that means you don't need much glue. You just need to make sure it really sits flat and it makes a really solid joint. This sort of looks like an I-beam. You can imagine how strong that is. You could probably walk right on this joint. What do you think?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Cool. All right. So, and then if we're in the corner, we can even make some other, I don't know the name of this joint, but you can make some corner joints, and that'll hold, it sort of reinforces the cardboard and holds it together. So if you're building a big box, for instance, you can put something like this just in one corner, and that holds the whole thing together in a more solid way. So those are some tips on how to make stuff strong. I'd like to share with you what tools we use for making cardboard stuff. And it's really pretty simple. We use glue guns. So here's some glue guns. And they take glue. The glue just comes in these cylinders of glue. And you heat it up in the glue gun. There's a trigger on the glue gun that presses the glue out. And the glue melts in the gun, and then it dries really quickly after that, within seconds. So it's really instant gratification. So we also need scissors every now and then. We need to make sure we have joints that are square sometimes, so you have the T-square. And then to figure out the angles of things, we have the protractor. We do a lot of math, particularly when we're making the geometric shapes that we've looked at earlier. So let's talk about some of the things we've made with the cardboard. Again, this is a polyhedron, and it has many sides. They're each the same shape in this case. They're all pentagons. So when we make something like this, we'll make a set of pentagons. Here's an example. And this is just a template, so you can use the same piece and mark up many pieces and then do the cutting. And then you've made, say, a dozen of these. That's what it takes to build one of these. Here's the other shape that we covered with some interesting answers, yes or no answers here. Don't know the name of this one, but this is obviously pentagons with triangles included. So again, we have a template, and we can make all the triangles we want as well as the pentagons, and it all fits together. And templates come in all different shapes and sizes, so circles or whatever, and we can even make square things with our T-square. The type of cardboard we use, again, is the kind, corrugated is the most common type of cardboard that we find in boxes everywhere, so that's pretty easy to use. We can even use stuff like cereal boxes. It's kind of flimsy though, so I prefer to use something thicker. Sometimes cardboard comes in 2-ply. This is actually a 2-ply piece. It's got 2 layers of corrugation in it. Other times you'll find a single layer of corrugation, and both are very strong when we make the shapes. An example of things that we can make a bigger size, here's again another polyhedron. And what holds this whole thing together are joints on the inside of this. This one has holes, so you can actually reach inside and feel the joints, but there's pieces of cardboard along each of the joints, and that's what holds each of the shapes together. Once it's all glued together, it actually makes a very strong project. It's kind of enjoyable building little things, but then the bigger things are even more fun and maybe a little bit more forgiving in terms of the drawing of the shapes and having all the right angles and everything like that. So now that we've seen all these things, we talked about techniques and so on a little bit. I'd like to go ahead and build an actual project right now. So let's get started. So what we need are the glue guns. I'm going to go ahead and get these set up. We always use a piece of cardboard so the glue gun doesn't glue itself to the table. I have an extension cord, so I'm just going to run that. So while that's happening, let's talk about the project we're going to make. So I have here some pieces of cardboard, and to save time, I actually went ahead and cut the pentagons that we'll use to make one of these. We're going to make this one a lot bigger than this one, so it'll be really interesting to see how it fits together. Each pentagon is this size, so we'll be gluing them together and making stuff like this. Another tip about cardboard is when we get it, usually it has writing on one side or the other. So I made some X's here. I'm going to try to remember not to glue this on the outside. We'll try to use just the clean side of cardboard. It'll make it look like a neater project. So then all of the joints here are made with, I'll call them hinges or cardboard angles. That would be these things. So they're a piece of cardboard. We're going to fold them over and then put the glue on them and glue them to one piece and then to the next piece. And that's what's going to hold it all together. And so we have a total of 12 pentagons to make this shape. And doing some very high math calculations, I approximate 30 of the joints that we'll need to make to hold this whole thing together. So I'm going to go ahead and get started folding these things. We have them pre-cut just to save some time here. And we'll go ahead and get started making the joints. All right, so let's talk about how to make these joints that hold these various shapes together. So we have some pre-cut pieces of cardboard about 3 inches wide, about 10 inches long here. And what we've done is score these. So we use the utility knife and go down the center of the cardboard lightly, not cutting the whole thing through and through, but making a score on the cardboard. And then we use just a little bit of pressure, and that score is where it's going to fold. So then it folds neatly, and you have a nice joint with a certain angle. The angle doesn't have to be too particular at this point. It's a flexible joint, which is good, but this is going to be a very strong joint for bringing these pieces together again. So we'll go ahead and fold a few of these up, and then we'll get the glue gun over here and we'll see if it's ready to connect all these things together. We just fold like this, and away we go. It doesn't take too much cardboard to make something really strong this way. You're doing a great job there, Ben. There you go. Every now and then a piece breaks. But cardboard is very inexpensive. We get it free and it can be recycled. He's focusing on his job at hand.
So focused I can't even talk.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think next let me move over and get the glue gun. We'll see if the glue gun's ready to go ahead and glue these joints together. So I'm going to pop over here. Here's our shapes. We'll get started. Ben, are you ready?
Yeah.
All right. So we'll go ahead and grab 2 of these. So my marks there mean that's going to go on the inside.
Okay.
Let's take 2 solid ones first. Okay, so what we'll do, if you can hold this one at an angle like that on the table, just like that. So we're going to form this joint right here, okay? If you can hold that just like it is. So come over here with the glue gun. We don't have to cover the whole piece of cardboard with glue, but we need to make sure that the joint is covered sort of like as a hinge would be. So I'm going to go ahead and spread the glue in such a way that all parts of the cardboard are covered. Something like that. The glue will be sticky for just about 20 seconds or so, and then it sets up, which is the amazing thing because it's such a great joint. So we press it into place. Great job, Ben, holding the right angle there. Just kind of press all over it, and within a couple of seconds here we go, it's all set and ready to go. It doesn't take very long. So now we'll rotate our shape just like that, and now we have 2 joints to do. So Ben, if you can hold that just like that. And I'll go ahead and get the next joint. So we're going to do the same thing. Get the glue gun out, spread a little glue across. Doesn't have to be too fancy, not too much glue, but at least enough. Put it in the joint area and then press down, making sure the corners are aligned correctly. If we get off course, it's going to be tough to get the last piece in. Everything else will go in fine. So this is really nice, and there's hardly any daylight between the angles there, so it looks good. Let me put some more glue in the glue gun. Got to keep feeding the glue gun. What I do is just put a dab on here and throw it in and get the next piece of glue started. These you can get at any hardware store. Just be careful you don't get glue on your hand. It's really hot. I don't think it causes too serious a burn, but it makes you jump when you get it on your hands. Putting in one more joint here. So there we go, pressing it into place. Make sure the line of the joint is right with the joint of the piece of cardboard. And there we go. And just like that, it takes no time at all. We already have a solid structure. So let me carry on. We're going to do a little bit more building, and we'll come back and we'll show you where we are about 10 minutes from now. All right. So we're just about halfway through making our shape here. The gluing goes by pretty quick. The cutting is really what takes most of the time in making these. And again, you want to spend a lot of time making sure the shapes are accurate, and then the rest goes really easy. So we're just gluing these pieces in here, pressing to keep everything flat. Once we have a flat table and a flat joint, it's pretty strong. So here we have our shape. We're halfway through. Big salad bowl right now. But you can see it's a little bit flexible. That flexibility is going to change when we put the other half on and put joints around this whole thing. So now we're halfway through there, and it just took not even 10 minutes to glue her together. So you can see on the inside, that's where all the writing is. And on the outside, at the end of the project, what we'll do is put duct tape along each of the edges there. And that really holds it together, keeps it from being exposed. It gives it some flexibility, so if anybody wants to treat this like a beach ball, it'll still hold together and not get busted up. So we'll keep putting some more shapes on here and come back when we're just about done.